This is all the kit that I used to break the 372 kilometre Rebellion Way FKT. I'll start with the kit. Rule 28 were kind enough to send me a set of their jersey shorts and some aero socks. I went with a white jersey because I knew it was going to be quite warm and I overheat quite easily. And the performance hit of overheating even a tiny bit is huge, especially over the 13 hours that this ride was. This jersey's got fancy aero ribbed sleeves. Hopefully that made a little bit of a difference. I went with aero socks over aero overshoes, just for a little bit of comfort. Being in overshoes for 13 hours isn't the most pleasant experience. So I took the slight aero hit, but I mean these are still obviously aerodynamic enough. And then pair of shorts. I think the best thing I can say about a pair of shorts is that I didn't think about them for 13 hours. No gooch pain. They weren't sore or anything, and I felt pretty good at the end of it. Downstairs in the chamois region. I ended up taking the record by 10 minutes, so well within like an aero margin of error. Potentially if I didn't have that kit and I was just in normal kit, I might not have taken the record. So cheers, Rule 28. I had, as well as the frame bag on the bike, this is the bike exactly as it was when I finished. I haven't even washed it yet. And then I had a backpack with a 2-litre bladder of water in here, and I just kept that as normal water. And then I put in the pockets a little bit of, like a pack of tissues and my bank card and ID, just to keep those safe. And then in the pockets, I just went for a couple of extra bags of Sturka mix, which I didn't end up using because I didn't stop for water at all. Which overall wasn't enough water for the whole thing. So 2 750ml plus 2 litres in there for 13 hours was not enough water. But by the time that I realised I didn't have enough for the whole thing, I didn't have enough time to stop, basically. So it was either I get to the finish dehydrated and break the record, or I get to the finish hydrated and don't break the record. Maybe next time I take a little bit more water. Onto the bike itself. This is my giant TCX. It's a cyclocross frame that I don't race cyclocross on. I bought it for cyclocross, and then I've just ended up doing a bunch of other stuff on it. It's just got kind of bog standard 50mm carbon wheels in here that I've got 35mm pretty fast rolling gravel tyres from Pirelli, I think, that I've used for a couple of different things now. I mean, I didn't really choose the tyres. These are just the gravel tyres that I had. It was either this or 25mm slicks, which I wasn't going to do. But I think they ended up being pretty much the perfect tyre. There's a lot of road section on the route where you're rolling at like 35, 36k an hour when I'm tucked in the aero position. And these at 50 psi were still rolling as fast as... it didn't feel any slower than a normal road bike. And then off-road, obviously, the lower tyre pressure felt quite good over the rough stuff. I've got a SRAM Force E-Tap group set on here. I like the wireless E-Tap on long distance rides, which is what I use this bike for mainly, just because it's one less thing to go wrong, one less cable. I've just got this set up one by because I don't have a front mech hanger for this bike. In hindsight, yeah, maybe would not have done that, because I think I dropped my chain 8 times. I managed to get it back up with my fingers whilst riding, but that's a risk that you don't really want to have to take on a record like this. But it's a 48 tooth chain ring on the front, and then it's a 1036 cassette on the back. I think I was in this granny gear maybe once on the whole thing, so it's a super flat route. I knew what speed I was going to have to average, so I just kind of geared it to that. And the gearing itself was perfect, just maybe not a worn chain ring. I went with my road pedals and road shoes. I knew it was a fast rolling course, even if it was a fast rolling route, even if it was off road. I'm not going to be putting my foot down, and I think I ended up putting my foot down maybe 3 times in the whole thing, excluding the natural nature breaks. I just went with the one bag, the frame bag in the middle. There's kind of no penalty. There's no speed penalty for having a frame bag. If anything, it makes it a little bit faster. And in there, I just had my emergency spares. So I had a couple of tubes, a pump, a couple of tyre levers, and a flapjack. But I didn't end up opening it once. over the whole thing. I just had my food in the pockets of my bag. Having the frame bag in the middle of the triangle just kind of closes it off and makes it a little bit more aero. I did have front and rear light set up. In hindsight, I probably should have taken a spare light because I only had one on each, and I couldn't remember if I charged it before I left because I did the last hour and a half in the dark. But yeah, that all turned out pretty well. I've got quite an extreme stem on this, as with most gravel cyclocross bikes. They're not massively aggressive on the front end. They've got quite a big head tube, so I've had to go with 110 minus 17 stem on the front there. So it kind of looks more aggressive than it is. It isn't actually that crazy. Probably out of all the road bikes that I've got, it's still by far the most relaxed. Isn't quite the right word. Less unextreme than the rest of them. But yeah, position feels amazing on this. I really get along with riding it. The wheelbase is a lot longer than a kind of an aggressive road bike that I'd normally ride. So it takes a kind of an hour or so to get used to, but after that, it feels solid. Felt really planted. That's a good industry word they use, isn't it? Planted. Got some bog standard 38 centimeter round handlebars at the front, and I had those on because I wanted to get the clip-on aero bars on there at the front, because I knew the record riding speed was just over 29k an hour, which means there's going to be a considerable amount that's kind of close to 40k an hour on the course, and 40k an hour, obviously, that's, you know, the faster you go, the more aerodynamics matter, which is why I wanted to get those bars on there. So every single possible time I could have been in those bars, I was. Obviously, I wasn't in them very often in the gravel, so I could kind of rest my shoulders on the gravel, and then on the road, yeah, get tucked in as much as possible. The strategy that I used, I kind of fell into a rhythm of just hitting the gravel off-road sectors as hard as I could, kind of get them over and done with at a high power, and then get on the road, get tucked in, and save as much energy as I could. Quite a polarised effort in that sort of sense. Yeah, I've got my exposure, I can't remember what it's called, one of the exposure ones, the long thin one. I don't like using the big ones. I don't think you need that much power, and the batteries on these last fine. It can easily last a whole night in winter and a little bit more, so I wasn't concerned about the battery on there. And I had the Wahoo Roam on the top with my route, obviously. I didn't take cables or battery pack or anything, kind of a little bit more incentive to get it over and done with quickly before all my stuff died. And I think I finished with like 10% on it, so I cut it quite fine, but all good in the end. I did bring, like I said, spare tubes, but very luckily I didn't have any punctures or any mechanicals at all, really, other than dropping my chain a bunch of times, but that's kind of my fault. So I think I got away quite luckily. And then, of course, the full bean sticker on the forks. You can grab your own, link in the description. In my bottles, I had 270 grams of carbs in each of these, so 3 of those Sturka 90-gram sachets, which is a ridiculous amount of carbs. I sipped both of these. I think it took me about 7 hours to get through both of these bottles, and that's all the food I had for the first 7 or so hours. So I kind of sip it, it's like drinking honey, and then take a little bit of water out of the pack. But didn't have any stomach issues. Stomach felt great the whole time, so it's definitely something that I'm going to use in the future. It's taken a while to kind of train it up to that point. You definitely shouldn't do it just kind of jump in. That's a lot for your stomach to take on, but definitely worth it in the long run. Just got the same physique saddle that I run on all of my bikes. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. And yeah, like I said with the shorts, I didn't have any comfort problems, even close to the end. So it's kind of, if it's not broken, I'm not going to try and fix it. Overall, really happy with the bike, with the setup. I don't think there's many things I would have changed to make it faster, maybe more reliable, but not faster. In terms of how I've set it up, I think it went quite well. Really happy with all of my kit, from the clothing to the bike to nutrition. Thanks Rule 28 for sending out some of their summer kit. I don't think this kit is ever going to be white again with all the dust and the sweat that I've thrown at it, but I'll be using it nonetheless. If you want to check out more of my stuff, check out Full Beans Cycling Company. It'll be one of the links in the description. I've got the full film from this attempt, plus a few more bike videos and a few more films over on there. Yeah, ciao.